Jingle, Jangle, the invention of Jeronicus Jangle.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you, Lynn. I just flipped my page. Here we are. She stepped off the elevator and it descended, vanishing behind her as she took in the large and drafty room. Despite the cobwebs coating flasks and beakers on the center table, the scuffed up wooden floorboards, inventions covered in white gossamer sheets, and the stale air of neglect, Journey knew a creative space from any other kind of space, and the room buzzed with inspiring energy, even more than she'd first detected in the shop below. It vibrated through every molecule. Passing an antique cabinet, she crossed to a covered invention and parted the sheet to get a gander. Jangulated 2000, she mused, disappearing under the sheet to marvel at the strange old machine. I knew it, came a boy's awestruck voice. His tune quickly changed. Oh, a ghost! Journey emerged from behind the sheet as the boy cowered under a desk. Apparently, he had stumbled upon the elevator and had taken it up there, only to assume that the figure examining the Jangulator 2000 was a ghost. Striding toward him, Journey took in his green and orange tartan suit, green polka dot bow tie, and owlish glasses with a makeshift magnifying lens clipped on. Who are you? They asked each other in unison. I'm Journey, she said, Jeronicus's granddaughter. Edison stood to greet her. I'm Edison. Edison Latimer, Professor Jangle's most trusted assistant, he said with all the pride in the world. Journey blinked at him, staving off an ounce of envy. You want to be my apprentice? He asked optimistically. Do you want to be mine? Journey asked right back. I asked first, he said pointedly. She sighed, shook her head, and walked away, eager to keep exploring. As the head inventor, I insist we leave at once, Edison called after her. Journey combed over mysterious gadgets on the desk. Not until I find what I'm looking for. She contemplated a cobweb-covered machine that resembled a typewriter and kept searching. What are you looking for? He inquired. She opened the creaky little door of a dusty hutch. I'll know it when I see it. You really shouldn't be touching anything in here because you never know when it could do something like... He accidentally knocked over a kettle-like contraption that clattered loudly to the floor and rolled to a stop. Before it, there was an object covered by a ratty white sheet. Journey crossed to it, with Edison chattering by her side. She tentatively pulled off the sheet to reveal a mechanical robot, the same one she'd seen in her mother's book of inventions. It was 3 feet of sturdy brass plates with stocky arms and legs and a head that practically resembled a pair of gigantic binoculars. The Buddy 3000. Journey knelt to get a better look. Edison followed suit. There is something here. Why didn't the professor tell me? He moved past his shock and dismay, and his face lit up. It's amazing, he hollered. Journey scoured the robot for an on switch, but couldn't find one. It'll be even more amazing when I get it to work, she mumbled, deep in thought. If the professor couldn't get it to work, what makes you think you can? She looked at Edison, straightening her posture. Because there's nothing that says I can't. What does that even mean? Edison asked her. She noted the robot had a square hole in the center of its chest, like it was missing a heart. A cube-like heart. Wait! Her eyes widened. She had an idea. After a quick stop downstairs, Journey returned to the workshop with a mysterious glass cube she'd noticed earlier. Carefully, she slid the cube into the cavity of the robot's chest with a gratifying click. She waited for it to turn on and activate. Nothing happened. Edison knelt back down. "There's something wrong with it," he remarked. "There'd be something wrong with you, too, if you were stuck in a dark room all your life," Journey retorted. Her tone perhaps a bit more defensive than she'd intended. She found a page for the cube's design on the work table while Edison peered over her shoulder. "It looks like the power source is in a superposition of states. We just need something to collapse the wave function." They referenced the designs together. "So will it work or not?" he asked. "Yes," Journey answered. "What are you saying yes to?" Edison asked indignantly. "Will it work or not? It's a simple question. All I request is a simple answer." "It will work," Journey said warmly. "At least I have to believe it will." Just then, beeping and whirring sounded behind them. Journey and Edison whirled around, facing the robot, whose radial aperture eyes were now open, whose glass cube now glowed and spun, and who had taken a few steps toward them. Journey and Edison turned back to each other and screamed. "I want to die. I haven't even reached puberty." Edison buried his face in Journey's back. They'd hidden under the work table together. "Edison, let go." Shaking him off, she inched out from under it. The robot, she saw, was just as scared as they were, peeping at her from around the table and mimicking her motions. "It's okay. Come on," she encouraged him. The robot waddled toward her, wobbling as he grew accustomed to his newfound mobility. "Easy," she told him. The gears inside the robot's glass heart purred, and he steadied himself. Journey motioned to herself. "My name is Journey." Buddy regarded her, eyes dilating. "Jeronicus's granddaughter." He imitated what he'd heard her saying earlier. "And this is Edison," Journey added, gesturing to the boy who looked up. He bonked his head on the bottom of the table. "Ow! I'm okay." He crawled out from under it and tentatively clung to Journey's back. Finally, he gave a timid wave at Buddy. "Hi." "Why didn't you work for my grandfather?" Journey asked. Buddy's eyes enlarged. "It will work. At least I have to believe it will," he parroted. Journey gasped. "That's it." She rose. "Belief." It collapsed the wave function. It must have been part of the formula. "He works because we believe," she told Edison, reviewing the page of the robot's designs. "Well, of course we believe. He's hovering above your head," he said matter-of-factly. Sheer horror crossed his face as he realized what he'd said, and he reversed. "He's hovering above your head." He ran and hid under the ladder of a stripped loft bed. "Mommy!" Journey looked. Her jaw dropped, along with the pages in her hands. Buddy was levitating, somersaulting clumsily through the air. He knocked into wheels hanging from the wall and then into ropes on a pulley system as he tried to get his bearings. Journey winced. "Be careful." Finally, after drifting helter-skelter, Buddy hovered evenly in place. A whimsical wind blew through the workshop, and Journey's cracked red boots lifted from the peeling floor. She began to rise high into the air. She was flying. She was actually flying! Buddy orbited around her like a satellite while Edison anxiously gazed up them through the rungs of the ladder. Buddy swam expertly through the air and Journey glided gracefully after. Edison stepped out from under the loft bed and the magic swept him off his feet. He grabbed hold of a ladder to prevent himself from floating too, but his boots continued skyward. What's happening? His fingers lost purchase, then grasped on to the headboard. Edison, just let go. It'll be all right, Journey vowed. It's not going to be all right. Edison's grip slipped. Mom! He grabbed a wooden beam jutting from the wall. Then he took a breath and let go. Suspended in midair, he gawked, then eyed his hands and body before starting to paddle his arms and kick his legs. Meanwhile, Journey and Buddy flitted around playfully, somersaulting and pirouetting with elegance. What unexpected enjoyment they'd uncovered. Who's there in my workshop? Came a voice. Buddy instantly powered down, lowering shakily to the ground, going dark. His cube dislodged in the process, poking from his chest. Journey's boots alighted. Edison thumped face first onto the bed, sending up a thick cloud of dust. The doors parted, and in stepped Jeronicus. His pajamas and threadbare dressing gown. He was in no mood for hijinks. Consternation shone in his eyes at the sight of Buddy, fully assembled with his glass cube and all. What are you doing up here? He strode past Journey to the robot. What have you done? Edison vaulted from the bed. I told her not to touch it, but she's not a very good listener. Jeronicus wheeled on her. The contract clearly stated that you were not to touch, move, bust, break, or take anything from this shop. Do you remember? He took deep breaths. I didn't move it, Journey said, searching for the optimal words. You expect me to believe that it just got up and walked over here? Jeronicus asked incredulously. Well, actually, he flew, Edison piped in from where he now stood at her side. That's not possible, Jeronicus scolded. It is, Grandpa J. Journey peeled Buddy's page of designs off the floor and handed it to her grandfather. It works! While he perused it, she noticed doubt cloud her grandfather's features. He didn't believe them. In fact, she realized with a heavy heart, he didn't believe at all. Watch, I'll show you. Edison snapped the glass cube back into Buddy's chest. Nothing happened. Jeronicus gulped. You see? You see? I told you, it doesn't work. It does, Journey implored. You just have to believe. Professor, Edison said, you really are the greatest inventor of all. I'm not an inventor, Jeronicus inserted, and you are not an inventor either. Edison's brow furrowed, and he shot Journey a devastated glance. He'd never seen Jeronicus this upset. Crushed and quivering, he hung his head and scurried from the workshop. Journey gaped at Jeronicus. But Grandpa, enough already, okay? He cut in despondently. Enough! Nothing would make me happier than if this worked. She woefully shook her head. He does. You have to believe me. I'm telling you the truth. I wouldn't lie to you. Grandpa, please. I need you to go to bed. Jeronicus butted in as he stalked with a shaky gait to the door. I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay here and fix this. Please, she pleaded. Her voice gave way to soft sobs. Please, Grandpa. All you have to do is believe. Will you listen to me? He growled, wheeling on her. Journey was taken aback. Her lip trembled. Go, he roared, gesturing sharply to the door. Go! Shaking her head, eyes gleaming with hurt, Journey rushed past him. Watching her flee reminded him of the only other time he'd watched someone he cared for leave. Only once her footfalls faded did Jeronicus realize he'd seen something in her that was reminiscent of what Joanne and Jessica also possessed. Another J word, joy. A fat tear rolled down his cheek as he thought about what his life might have been. He scanned his workshop, a place where his wife and daughter once cheered him on. He'd been stuck for so long. He wished he could somehow believe again. How he longed to rediscover the same magic within himself. But he concluded it was too late for him. He lifted a sheet, draped it over the lifeless robot, and retired to bed.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you both so much for those incredible read alouds. I have chills and my face hurts from smiling at the same time. To see these stories come to life on the big screen, we're going to take a few minutes now to preview the trailer for Netflix's first original live action musical, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey.
Once upon a time,